Hello and welcome to Goa 365 Story Behind the Story. Now we have been seeing the tourism season is supposed to be very good this year, pre-COVID days. We are supposed to get the numbers. However, many of the endemic problems that this government has been talking that it would settle, it would sort out, these things have not happened. And on this program itself, here we have been talking about various issues including infrastructure, taxis, lots of things, and no action has been taken for so long. This thing has come to a head the other day when a group of American tourists from a cruise liner were almost held hostage in Vasco. Now to discuss this and give us a general, what could be, what is, whatever about this particular issue and whether Goa is trying very hard to kill the goose that lays the golden eggs. We have with us Nilesh Shah, my good friend from TTAG. Nilesh Bab, welcome. Anas Das from TCI and Sita, one of the top charter operators in the state. Anas Bab, welcome. And Samim Narvekar, our journalist from the Bardes belt, which is one of the places which is under the spotlight, so as to say, for taxis, and for dance bars, the latest. So, Nilbab, tell us, what is this? This is something that you've been shouting hoarse from all the rooftops of Penjim and probably whichever it is. What is this? Is this, are we on some suicide trip? Are we on a trip of self-destruction? What?
In fact, this was waiting to happen. As you are aware, TTG in all the discussions last 3 years or prior to that, past presidents also, the main topic of contention always was in transport and the taxi challenge which Goa is facing. And this is nothing new, and it was about to happen, and it has happened. Now I hope government opens up their eyes and resolves this issue. As you are aware, any customer, to get the customer is very difficult. So the challenge happens is whenever there is a prepaid customer, people who pay in advance, book their vehicles. It may be for the cruise, or it may be for the hotels, or it may be at the airport. So at each level we see there is a lot of that if it's customer from outside my hotel or it's outside the cruise line, it is only I have a right to do that business of that customer. It doesn't work that way. And to give you a little bit of background, way back in 2008, TTAG then had gone to the High Court, Honorable High Court, and have given the verdict that selecting the mode of transport is customer's prerogative. Now, what we are saying is this law is, we are strengthening the government's hand also by having this type of verdict, so that this was happening for quite some time. So we had gone to the court, and customer where he can select if he wants to go by coach, he wants to go by cab, or he wants to take any other vehicle. But what we are saying is the entitlement of those people who are outside, they don't allow them to take it. So to resolve that further, we went again to the court, and Honorable High Court gave in that fixing of meter. Now these are the rules which are there, it is not new rules. It are in RT, when you are issuing the permit, all these rules are there. That meter fixing is permanent, and you know the fate of it. Government budgeted big money and gave free meters. Election times, many of the politicians gave them free meters because that was government reimbursement which was supposed to take a time, and nobody is using those meters. So what we are saying is there is no fear of law as far as the taxi drivers are concerned in Goa, and they do what way they want it. And I am not saying that all are bad, but that few apples which are there, and they get carried away with so-called their leaders, and it is spoiling that, as you rightly said to start with, the golden goose giving an egg, golden egg giving a goose. So if you are going to kill that goose, then I think Goa, we are asking for big trouble. And one thing we have to understand, the neighboring states are opening up, neighboring countries are opening up big way, and they also have similar things to offer, maybe something better. And if that happens, Goa, once any destination, once they lose the charm, I think it will be very difficult to revive it. And it's high time government is talking about tourism capital of India. Government is talking about that tourism is a main industry of Goa. but I don't foresee the acts, the illegalities as far as transport is concerned, any steps been taken. Though we welcome the steps, the announcement made by Transport Minister, Tourism Minister and Chief Minister after this incident, that they will not tolerate this and they will take strict action against the perpetrator. Now only what we as a tourism industry as a whole, we request government to walk the talk, because I think enough talk has been made. Because our first representation when government took over to the tourism minister and to the chief minister was on this transport issue, and every time we are taking same thing and we are talking same issue without any result. So it is, I think, high time that government actually looks into it, and public support is there with the government to time, and because I think I'm sure the taxi drivers also want this thing to be resolved, because there are few bad apples there also. But can you imagine the opportunity which is going to be there with MOPA coming in to this transport operator as a whole? But if they don't act themselves and come out openly in supporting the legal thing and they want to support illegalities, I think then we are asking for trouble, and you can be rest assured customer will show the back to Goa. So if we avoid that, I think it's all the verticals of the industry, all governs, because when we talk about tourism, it is not only the we sitting on this chair, travel agents, tour operator, or hoteliers or event guys. We are talking about across the board. We are talking about circular economy. So even the vegetable vendors will get affected. Mind you, even the musician will get affected. Even the person selling fish will be affected, or the small gada in the vicinity will get affected. So people needs to voice out. Besides the industry, people needs to come on the road stating that enough is enough. I think it's time to resolve.
Yeah, thank you. Now, Anand, you are a lot of charters come to Goa, right? And charters are the people who will get directly affected. The indirect effect is because you all use buses, you all use, and then they want some reasonable things. So what message does this send? And people who are coming by charters are people are coming from Europe, senior people with obviously with money, because of whatever the reason may be. They have money compared to the Indian rupee. What message is this going to send?
So this incident has sent very wrong signals across India and across the world. Although here we were not involved in the cruise business that day, we also have cruise companies which we work with. So there were inquiries from them. Besides, the charter operators were concerned.
Obviously.
Because, the safety of the client is paramount to all foreign tour operators, travel agents. And when something like this happens, and it's, today social media is spread all across the world, it puts a scare. And today, people have a choice. Like the same cruise vessel went next to Mangalore, Kochi, and they were treated so well. So see the image, what happens to Goa's image just because of this incident. And this is not which happened the other day. It kept happening before that too at the cruise terminal. And to be honest, the taxi operators would not resort to this unless they had the support of the local MLA. We have to be blunt. The previous MLA supported them. Now the present MLA has supported them, and that's the reason why they took law in their hands. And can you believe the MLA today is saying it's miscommunication? Why does the tour operator have to explain or inform the taxi union that we are coming to pick up clients? I don't understand.
I don't understand the logic of it.
You don't have to give him any information. We inform MPT, we inform the police, fair enough. But why you should inform the...
No, wait, Ernest, let me interrupt you. Why should we inform the police?
Yeah.
Why should we inform MPT?
Yeah.
Why? So that means the government cannot take off the ticket. In fact, I had called the BJP spokesman here. He's not here. So I don't know, maybe whatever may be the reason. Hopefully he's a friend of mine, so probably it's a genuine reason. But otherwise, why should security be a problem for tourists in Goa? Don't you think, Ernest? You don't get asked these questions?
See, I would say because of MPT, anyone might trespass into the area.
Okay.
That may be a concern. So that's why you need to inform the police or MPT. But informing the taxi union doesn't make sense to me.
Oh.
Secondly, there's no control. There's no control at the gate. You know, because you have so many taxi drivers hanging around there, and then people coming out. The people get scared. The same thing is happening outside the hotels. You and I know, and it's been happening for donkey's years.
Yes.
And this incident, if it has happened, I hope now things will improve. The Chief Minister has used very strong language by saying he will stop this dadagiri of the taxi drivers, and the Tourism Minister apologized to the tourists. I hope the message is gone across, and this will not be repeated.
I will give the calculation for the politicians to ponder on. When we went to the court for fixing a meter, we were told there are 18,000 taxis. When actual time came of affidavit which government had to file, they said it's 10 to 11,000 taxis. And when actual meters were fixed, there were 8 to 9,000 taxis.
So 10,000.
Say 10,000 taxis are there, out of which 2 or 3 are very big operators, so leave aside that. So it will boil down to 6 to 7,000 taxis. Okay?
6,000 owners.
Owners, 7,000. Yeah, in the 7,000, there will be multi people who are having 3 taxis, 4 taxis. You remove that. Where Goans are not driving. It is the outsiders. They hire the drivers from outsiders and they are driving from Karnataka, Odisha, UP, even from Nepal for that matter. So actually Goans, how many are driving? So when we are talking about, I feel, there is a misconception to treat them as a vote bank and get a fear factor.
Wait, vote bank. Wait. Now, all governments are talking about vote banks. They're saying no pandering, this pandering, that pandering, bad pandering. Now you're saying forget you. I'm not taking your figure. I'm saying 10,000. How many people generally in a family? 4. 10,000 into 4 is how much? It is one constituency. So why the chief minister who is law and order? See, I am not going into details. I am saying it's a law and order situation. It happened with Goa Miles when their taxes were beaten up. It's been happening regularly. You go to a hotel. I challenge any of you to go to a hotel and pick somebody up in a car. It is not possible. Okay. Before we continue this, I want to bring Samip in thing because he's there. One of his political guys from his constituency has been backing taxi owners for so long. So I'll bring him back into this thing after the break. After a short commercial break. Keep watching. Welcome back. Now, Samip, you are in Baddes. You have been seeing these taxi drivers. You have just had some major dance bars issue, and all bullshit, whatever it is. Everything to be hidden under the carpet. Everybody. I have no issues if Goans make money. No problem. But a majority of the illegalities here are being done by people who are not of Goan origin on the coastal belt, your coastal belt. Second thing is, I don't know, you tell me, you've been you are part of that, you live there. How is it the taxi drivers have got so much of guts to do what they did? They closed down, last time I remember they had a big dharna and they closed down the tour operators. Ernest, we can talk about that later. How are they going to do it? Is there that they are like so powerful that the law and order, the police who otherwise catch people from their houses and dump inside, beat lawyers up, cannot do anything against these guys? Why?
See,
you tell me.
हांगा कितें म्हणटा पळय धंद्यावर नेसाय म्हणटा पळय तशें जाला. See, there were the certain areas like this is my area, this I am controlling it. Any customers is going out from like Baga, you have to go to Panjim. He will go and sit in my taxi only. There are tour operators there who provide water sports. There are hotels or restaurants. So these tour operators, what they do, they call their own taxi, like they find somewhere cheaper. So this guy charging 2,000, his own fellow is charging $1,000. So they call their own taxi operators, which are mostly the outsiders, the tour operators which are in Kalangut, which provide water sports, sightseeing and all. They call their own taxis because they are cheap. So these are the all outsiders. They do business is where their money tactics is very important. They play very easy money tactics. Money tactics means what? Spend less, earn more. Like yeah. So they will find something very cheap, like a water sports, in a very cheap rate. So instead of putting the water sports in scuba diving or something in Goa, they will take them to Malvan. So if it costs you some 1200 bucks, they will get there at 500 or 600. So the issue becomes what? Why the other taxi drivers are earning in my area? That is the problem. If a taxi driver from Panjim, who is a Goan, comes to Baga, drops his guest at a restaurant, and comes back to pick him up, and another local taxi finds it out that a guy from Panjim has came back to Baga to lift a customer from this area, then the fight breaks up.
We are living in free world. So to overcome this, technology is the key.
What's the solution?
I'll tell you. The solution are 2 points. Biggest one is a political will to resolve it. Second is you open up, because unless competition comes in, is not going to improve. Because we tried to go to the High Court, wherein meters were fixed. Then they tried to gather having queue system at MPT. What happened, which failed, and then again they started where they wanted. So app-based taxis is the solution. Because problem what happens is, if everybody is able to pick up the return passenger, automatically pricing will come down. Now today, once, can you imagine when Mopa starts? From Kavalosim to Mopa, what are the charges they are talking about?
10,000.
7,000 rupees one way. So return 14,000 rupees. So
That's like 2,500 is the ticket.
Absolutely. So what is the solution for this is, when they go from there, they instead of 7,000, let them charge 4,000. And return, if they are able to pick up another 4,000, they will make 8,000, they will make 1,000 rupees more. If they are part of the system wherein the return transfers can be picked up. Similarly, if I am going from Panjim to suppose Kalangut, okay, and if any vehicles are in and around from Kalangut, which is taking return transfer, it will be cheaper for me. Similarly, customer coming from there to here, and the Kalangut drivers can get the return transfer from here. So basically, the willingness to work needs to be there. What we say that they don't want to work, they just want to have 1 trip a day, or easy way out, 2 or 3 trips, which to airport or somewhere where they can make maximum money. Now gone are those days wherein monopoly is the key. Like all businesses are facing competition today. We are facing competition in business. So I cannot say tomorrow you close down the apps, or you close down the online portals because my business of travel is getting affected. So see, let's be very, very honest about it, and clear about it, that competition is here to stay, and government needs to understand that, and they need to get best of from the taxi drivers. You have to get from the best from each segment of the verticals of the industry. Ultimately, customer is the king. So if customer wants, he will come, and if you give him the competitiveness, if you give him a value, he will come. So you cannot force them. Secondly, he has a right to choose. And thirdly, it is a prerogative of the customer what to eat, what not to eat. Tomorrow he will say that Bangla खूप राहता, so he has to eat fish only, he cannot eat chicken. Now we are talking that. No, it's fact. So competition is only for solution, and they have to open up for all the who wants to come to Goa, open up the permits if required to. Because there will be a lot of requirements, because we are talking about, then Goa is talking about having Mopa being game changer, there more tourists will come, and if we have less vehicles and there are going to be a challenge in this, I think it's high time the app-based taxis are invited. Whoever wants to do it, like Goa Miles came in, or there may be XYZ.
Yeah, see, Nilesh, one thing I want to say, now Goa Miles came in, it was not supported by the law and order machinery.
Absolutely, it failed.
See, however, now for example, suppose if X, Y, Z apps comes in, they start beating up the drivers, they start threatening the customers, how is it going to work? It is the law and order situation is a state subject, it is not a business subject, like roads and water and electricity. If this is not taken as a proper law and order situation, however many apps come, won't there be a problem? Like what he's talking about is a very vicious circle. It's a very vicious circle. Today businesses are not controlled by locals. They are controlled by money coming from outside. Huge money is coming in from outside.
See, we talk about locals, but are they really, why should the locals suffer? Why should, in the travel industry, tour operations, most of them are locals. You see, most of the guys running these companies are locals. So why should we say this is only for us? Which locals are we talking? Are we talking about village-wise locals?
That's what I'm saying. He's talking about village-wise locals.
Yeah.
But how can business can't be like that? Now,
Yeah.
now see, these Baga, this we were talking about Baga and Kalangut, no? Now Baga and Kalangut hotels are there. So only people from Baga and Kalangut can enter the hotels. Nobody else.
But
How will the hotels
taxi
survive?
operator from Baga can't enter
No, but
Kalangut
see,
and-
now this is this needs to stop. Now political will require to stop this, and it is open for everyone. Government and police, as you said, police and RTO needs to support the system, and the solution will come next
Okay,
day.
Nilesh, I'll tell you one thing. What is the white taxi? What is the permission that you are giving? You are supposed to
Absolutely,
be
you can be outside.
You
Outside your home.
Be at home. You are supposed to taxi.
Yeah.
Now you look around here. There are all taxis. We can't find parking
Yeah.
because all these guys are parked. From where they are coming, casinos, hotels, whatever. But they are parked all over the place. First of all, what is the RTO doing? It is easy for ministers to talk. That no, police are not listening. RTO to say they are not listening. Arey, you
But
do
then
the
it's
job.
your government.
It's your government. It's your job. It's your police. It's your department. Do the job. Finished. No?
I
End of the story.
think political will is required to implement it, and it has to be that monopoly that this is my area. Let गुंडागिरी झाली नी.
It is
हो
गुंडागिरी.
माझी एरिया आणि कोण येऊ शकतो असे झाले.
See,
So
now
become like a
CM
mafia.
has made a statement and the ministers have made a statement. Every time there is a big incident like that, remember Kalangut was blocked,
Yeah.
statements were made.
But then you need
After
to,
that, what happened?
you need
Nothing
to,
happened.
as we said to start it, we need to walk the talk, because I think enough water is flown, and if we don't correct ourselves. In fact, other day in GTB meeting, tourism minister also said, chief minister also said that if we do not act, if we don't abide by this, it is high. It's not far that tourists, like what mining happened, stop in Goa, and Goa suffered. If tourism there is a downfall, I think everybody in Goa will suffer big time. Circular economy in Goa will suffer. So it is high time government resolves this issue, and it is not big. It is just a question of, as you said, of a question of law and rule and regulation need to be followed. Police has to be formed, and there has to be backing. If anybody is thrashed, anybody threatened, immediately is to be put behind bar and cancel his permit.
Nilesh Babu has rightly said, we have to allow apps.
Competition.
Apps have to be allowed. They should not be like you cannot pick up clients from here. They should allow any taxi driver to pick up clients from anywhere in Goa, part of Goa, anywhere. And it will be feasible for common men, for students, for government servants, for private sector employees to even come to us, because it will be much cheaper.
Yeah, I would not like to drive.
Tomorrow if you want to go for a party, you will not take your own car.
Correct.
Today the problem is, you go for a party of 100 people, there are 75 cars there.
Probably 120 cars.
Sometimes, because you have to go there with your own car. And then there's a risk, because you have a drink or two and then you may be arrested, caught, or you might meet with an accident. So imagine if it was like something like the system we have in Bombay or anywhere else in the metros. People would not use their own vehicles. There will be no traffic jams. It would have been so easy for all of us. So we have to look at that now. We have to make sure that this is government implements this forcefully as the Chief Minister has promised, and there will be a total transformation on the roads itself. You will not have all this mess which is happening, where you have taxis all over the place. People are, the locals are not using it, and the tourist taxi drivers also claim that we don't provide service for the locals. They are only talking about catering to the domestic and international tourists.
I don't know how many people come.
See, today we have reached a stage, no, this is a final. Nail in the coffin. If today we don't get this thing sorted out once for all, I'm afraid to say that we will kill tourism in Goa.
See,
And the CM in that last meeting mentioned, as it happened for mining, it can happen for tourism. Today tourism is the only...
And see, they have all the data. It's not that we need to tell as an industry to the government. Government know what is happening. So it is that for them to now to take action, especially it is only law and order problem. There is nothing else.
Exactly.
It is only a law and order problem. It happened in MPT.
It's very clear. Every MLA wants his PI in his constituency.
No,
now whether anyebody doesn't want to say it, doesn't like it, it is a fact.
Let us fact.
So obviously he'll listen to the MLA. Otherwise he'll get shunted
So
out.
basically, as a chief minister, as a home minister, he has to understand that enough is enough. Now he's not going to listen to anyone. Daya Maya Panaji Korchana, and I will act. And in true sense, Dupaji Garaz na, he should make that thing as a for each and every
What about the
Goans and people.
RTO minister also is there. He has to take action. Tourism minister says that police are not listening to him. This is the most ridiculous statement I have. How can a police not listen to a cabinet minister? Then he has to catch hold of his chief minister, not speak to the media. No, that are boss, your people are not listening to me. What is this? We are talking about tourist police. We are talking about tourist police now for I don't know 5 years. They're going to have tourist police on the road.
Sometimes we say we have shortage of police. But if you go to every corner,
the
police are hiding somewhere and looking out only for the.
They are not hiding. They see. I tell you now. For example, there are police on every street, on every junction. There are police. Not one or two guys, 5, 6 fellows. Kala Academy, this thing, 5, 6 guys. One was on the phone, and this is a traffic jam. That's why probably the cops are not putting the cameras on. I think because then after they will see what their own police are doing.
No, even I heard that new lot they have taken of 1200 odd other day. And the employment
police are enough according to police.
But I hope they are for the people of Goa.
They are harassing the tourists. Now said the visible violation they were saying. Now the visible violation is gone. They are stopping the tourists. Like villages like Arpora, Kandolim, Anjuna. There are cops at every nook and corner. But during Saturday, Sundays, during weekend, these junctions get chock-a-block and there is no police to handle the traffic there. Like in the Tito's lane, the Cafe Coffee Day junction, there is a huge chock-up, there is a mess.
You can't take a vehicle.
You can't even walk.
Whose job it is to settle the matter? Who is responsible for this law and order situation? The collector. The collector is overall responsible. Where are they? It looks as if the bureaucracy are gods here. They are not doing any work. Why? And they refuse to speak to them. You are responsible to the public. Who are you responsible to? Politicians get thrown out every 5 years. Where is the bureaucracy? Nowhere. It's not accountable to anybody. Who's paying your salaries? Our taxes are paying your salaries. Boss, you tell me one thing. Is this going to settle by 5th of?
For the tourists, like they think getting a rent a bike is very cheaper than this thing. Buying a taxi to go to Old Goa or Dona Paula. So like if you pay $600. You can drive. It's a cheapest way to commute and travel.
Because Goa transport is not there.
Yeah, but the issue is
public transport is not
this rent a bike. This tourists make a mess every time. Yeah, so one guy is there looking at that Google Maps and all. They don't know where to go.
Wrong side.
This thing.
So basically, the transport overall we require a system to change. We require a lot of local, like Kadamba we have, they have to make it more effective because earlier also we have talked about, we are talking about employment not there. Goans not going for the jobs in the factories and other places or even for that hotel because of transport. So the transport needs to be improved overall. So one of the main request as we are sitting on this, I think government is to resolve this transport. Not even taxis, but even the bus transport in a big way. If you want to actually see the growth and the employment opportunities for along with that, open up for there should not be any restriction. Any 5-star hotels in South Goa, North Goa, any 3-star hotel outside taxis, it is free for all. You join your system, you on the app whichever you want to, or you have your own app and get your business. But if somebody is coming, you cannot stop the customer picking up from any hotel or dropping that customer from any hotel.
These have been it's been a pretty long program. I think almost an hour on this tourism, taxi. We went to beach cleaning. Hopefully I don't know. Hopefully somebody listens and some action is taken. Because if not, as they say, I think we ourselves will be responsible for killing the goose that lays the golden egg. We will be responsible. You cannot blame anybody else. You cannot blame the outsiders. You cannot blame foreign hand. You cannot blame anybody else. You can't blame anybody.
We need to blame ourselves.
For this, we have to blame ourselves. Now, if we want to kill this tourism goose which lays the golden eggs for a lot of us, thank you and keep watching Goa 365.